Hello, this is a message for someone who's realizing that they've come to a point where a relationship with either a place of employment or people, whether it's friendship or whatever kind of relationship, it's come to a place of insurmountable differences. And the kind of differences I'm getting specifically is cultural differences. So if this message is for you, you may be at a company where there's a very specific and strong company culture. And you have been at this company a really long time and you have tried to fit into this culture, but you're coming to realize that you can't fully fit into this culture. And what's more, you even come into a realization recently. What I'm getting actually is you had a recent epiphany, if this message is for you, that this company's culture might go against your own personal values, okay? And yeah, I'm getting a few different messages, a few different scenarios of the kind of situation the person the message is for could be in. One is the company, another one is a friend group where you feel like there's such strong cultural differences that you are fundamentally incompatible. I might have taken you a long time to realize that, okay? And I mean, this is something I'm very familiar with because, I live in a foreign country where I experience like huge cultural differences all the time. And it's become really difficult in relationships and friendships specifically, so I relate very much to this message. And it's something that, there's not a whole lot of support for out there, okay? But I see that also happening a lot in corporate America, where companies will have a very, very strong company culture. And so the people are expected to fit in, right? And then it becomes maybe, I don't know if it's the same level of problem as socially fitting in as a foreigner, but you certainly deal with it in different ways. So even though they're two very distinct scenarios, though, I'm getting a similar message, okay? So if you are a person who's working in a company where you are realizing that your values don't align with theirs to the point that you're going against your own values if you continue to work there, I mean, the solution is pretty obvious, right? Now, you may not feel like you are in a position to just quit this job. So you may feel like you need to look for another job. You may feel put on the spot because what I'm getting to, like, okay, I don't know, say you work for one of those big, like, I don't know, Google or Netflix or Amazon. Maybe you feel like the skills you've acquired working there that have gotten you far up the ladder are not immediately translatable in other companies because of some kind of proprietary knowledge or something. That's what I'm getting. So you may feel like a easy transition to a similar pay job in a different company is not so easy for you, and you would have to more so like reinvent your career or something like that. So you might feel like it's a bigger task than just switching jobs, okay? And that's what's part of the problem for you in this situation. So in that case, I mean, I'm getting a message that applies to both situations, though, is that you need to reclaim your identity and really hold on to it, actually. Like, do not let yourself be mentally and morally invaded by the culture that surrounds you, especially if you have very clearly identified that you're not in alignment with it, you don't agree with it, doesn't apply to you, and you feel misunderstood within it, okay? So that's the same message if you're in a friend group. Say you're like a foreigner trying to fit in with people in a place where you're not from. It took me, because I'm married to an American, and my relationship with him, is very unique because he's a very unique person. He also lived 10 of his formative years in Spain, where I'm from. So it's not really a fair comparison to my relationship with him as the one I have with anyone else from here, where he's from, right? But because he's American, I did try to fit in with Americans like him for a long time. And I had friends where I tried really hard to make things work, even though when it was obvious that they would never understand me. and they were being really disrespectful in their misjudgments of me and their treatment of me. I still try to make it work because I was trying to fit in, right? So it took me being at the nail salon where everyone is Vietnamese and I go to every month, and they're so sweet there, and they brought to my attention several times that, you know, they hang out with other Vietnamese people. They don't try to fit in American culture, you know, and then it's a lot easier for them to live here. So that's when I realized that I was putting all this unnecessary pressure on myself to try and fit in with people that I could never fit in with, and not just couldn't, I didn't want to, because I don't agree with their culture and I don't agree with the way they perceive me. So why would I join them in their perception of me? I would have to abandon myself and change who I am into someone I don't want to be, just to, I guess, be accepted by them. So I was not gonna do that, but it became really difficult to deal with. And it's only because I was putting that pressure on myself to fit in. Now, if you're in a job, the pressure is real. You're not putting it on yourself as much. It's more so about, you know, continuing to do well at that job while you're able to transition somewhere else or like reinvent your career. So that's a different kind of pressure. But basically it comes down to the same thing of loving yourself, respecting yourself, and understanding that within the framework that this culture that surrounds you have, they're not gonna understand you or respect you. So you will have to go to others, or maybe, more than go to others, you have to realign with people of similar values so you can then do your best. That's what it is. You don't have to go to others. You have to stand in who you are. So say it's a job thing. Maybe you need to change your LinkedIn profile. I'm getting something about that. You need to change the way you present yourself in the world. Almost more, have to lean into these differences that you've been trying to blunt in order to fit in. You have to lean into these differences and almost shine a light on them. Interesting how the light just changed when I started saying that. Yeah, I mean, that's what I had to do in my personal life. Everything I was trying to dull in order for these people to accept me, I decided that's who I am, and I'm gonna embrace it. Like wearing designer clothing, you know, like this is just who I am, and I'm gonna embrace it, and I'm gonna do that. And you know, in Wisconsin, that's very looked down upon. To be cute and girly, people will act like you're stupid, you know, and many other worse things, you know. So you have to stand by who you are, and then you'll start aligning with the people that resonate with you. And if that's not exactly where you work or where you live, that's fine. You might attract them somewhere else, or you might just navigate elsewhere, you know, through the normal unfolding of events once you're realigned with your center of who you really are. So I hope that was helpful.